and today I've got some of the guys here from G4 Guitar, and what we're going to do is ask questions, try and solve problems, and come up with solutions and ideas and brainstorming as always. So let's get into it. Michael in Adelaide, Michael Essery, have you got any questions, topics, anything that you want to cover today?
I actually didn't. Don't really have anything at the moment. I've had all my questions answered. I'm just trying to find the time to implement the answers, I think, still. So yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll jump to Joachim. Joachim's in Sydney, Paddington. Any questions, Joachim? You've always got a question for me, I'm sure.
Yeah. I have a few actually.
Okay. Good.
So the first one. Yeah. Well, the first one is about the. So I'm going to organize the group the lessons we do on Wednesdays. We're gonna change it over to a different day. So maybe just go over that.
Yep. Consolidating the students, you mean? Just.
Yeah. Yes. To this, and just to sort of best way to keep most students on board.
Okay. Excellent.
And then
let's cover that. Let's do that first, and then because the format's changed a little bit now. What I do is I'll answer just one question at a time, and then we'll get to your second question. Okay, so as far as consolidating students and moving, it's actually not a bad thing to do occasionally. It's obviously consistency is what we're after, and if you're consistent about what you do, your students will be consistent. Students do tend to follow what you do, and that's where I found, especially when I ran schools in those early years, I would try and be flexible with the teachers as much as possible, and teachers would say, hey, my uni schedule's changed, because a lot of the teachers I had were university students, and every 3 months or whatever their uni schedule would change, and they go, I've got lectures on this day now, I can't teach that day, and so all right, let's move all your students to another day. We'd do that, and each time we would lose students. But also what it meant is that it was giving the students kind of permission to also do that. So they would very quickly start coming back to me and saying, oh, I can't do Wednesdays anymore, can we make Fridays? And what could I do? I couldn't give them the consistency speech because we were inconsistent. So that's the problem. Now with G4, obviously that's not something that happens often, and you're very consistent, I know. And so this is going to be really one move, and that's why I say it's not such a bad thing, because what it's going to really do is, and I think part of the plan here is obviously to make you more profitable, because with our time, we always need to be looking at the way we're using our time, not just your personal time, but the time, or let's call it resources, because time is a resource. And and I've mentioned this a few times before, one of the big things about successful businesses is that, and this was proven in a study, a very in-depth study, is that the ability of the CEO to manage resources and capital is really the biggest definer of success in business. So it actually is not what we think. We often think it's a great personality, someone, obviously these things help, but this isn't the number one factor. Is your ability to use your resources effectively and whatever capital you have. So in the case of your students and teachers, if you've got students spread across, like you've got very small groups, let's say you've got lots of 2s and 3s spread across 5 days, then that's a fairly inefficient business. When we're talking G4, and most guitar teachers, what they do is they have 1 student per slot. They're teaching privately, and that's even more inefficient. It's a very inefficient use of their time and resources. And what they're really declaring, and I hope I don't offend too many private teachers out there, because most of them are like this, unfortunately, and that is that what they're really saying is that I'm ineffective beyond 1 student. I can't really help more than 1 person at a time. Sorry. And imagine our school system. If our school teachers all said, sorry, I can only teach 1 student at a time, we would have 99% of students sitting on the street or walking the streets waiting for a teacher to give them a lesson. That would be the reality, because there just aren't enough teachers, and so we know that kids go to school, they have to learn in groups. So why is guitar different? It's only different because somebody decided it to be different. But if you really look into it, it's the history of it. So it's very inefficient. That's the bottom line here. Teaching privately is an inefficient way of helping people. And it doesn't matter what angle you want to look at it, whether you want to look at financial, whether you want to do it purely to help people. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's still inefficient teaching one person at a time. Now, from the point of view of you improving your efficiency, this is what you're really doing. I know one of the teachers is going to be, he's actually another G4 school, so he's going to be running his own school. But what's happening is that you've got that day, and rather than putting in another day to cover that day that he's dropping back on, you're talking about moving those students to another day or consolidating. And I think that's a great move. Even if you lose 20% of those students, which is likely, then that's okay, because you suddenly you don't have those wages. And if 20% is that 20% is less than the wages, you're already winning. But you're also winning on a management point of view. It's less days for you to manage more, and you open up a whole day there which can be used later, and it creates this. Almost it can be a bit of a test as well on the current students you have. How loyal are they to G4? Because the teacher's leaving, you've got a double whammy here. You've got one is that you're moving the day, and two is you're changing the teacher. So it would be easy for the student to say, I only want that teacher, so I'm not going to continue. And they could use the excuse, rather than even saying that, of, I can't do the other days. I could only do, let's say it's a Wednesday. I can only do Wednesday. Sorry, I can't do any other day. And rather than say to you, I don't want another teacher, they just, so they've got two ways to sort of get. But that's a good thing for you, because then you can say, well, we don't have loyal G4 students here. We have loyal, whoever the teacher's name is, students. And it was interesting because David Aldrich raised this point recently, and I think it was great that he did, because it's one of the things from the E-Myth, obviously, and that is that you don't want to build a business that's dependent on you. If it's dependent on you, then you can't escape it. If you look at celebrities, a lot of the time we think, hey, they're a celebrity, how cool is that? They make lots of money, wherever they go, people want to kiss their feet and all the rest of it. But the reality is that they live a life as a prisoner, and that's why you see a lot of them who can't actually cope with it. There's a lot of stress around it. There's a lot of, there's a lot of anxiety that goes with that position. So but the person who owns a business that runs itself like a cash cow, that's easy. That's like, I can choose to do whatever I want. So I think personally, the ideal business is one where you don't have to be there to run it, or you only have to be there on the terms that you run your business. Now, how about me? Well, I didn't call it David Hart's School of Guitar. You may have noticed that. I never labeled myself on the business name. I called it G4, so it was detached from me. I still play a big role, but that role is becoming less and less, especially as you guys run your own businesses, and it's not dependent on me. The students certainly aren't dependent on me anymore, and really it's only you guys coming to me for support and advice, and even that I can outsource over time, whether it be already to Emma, who's doing some of it, but even it could be across the network with you guys, where I could say, hey, I'm going to pay one of you guys now to do the support, because who knows it better than you guys? You guys are doing it every day. So if it gets to a point where I need to do that, and it can even be spread across all of you, where I sort of say, all right, you guys will get a discount if you now become the support team. So there's lots of, you can see that I'm preparing for that. I'm not building myself a prison where it's totally dependent on me. Even your big name famous guitar players, your Steve Vais, your Joe Satriani, they can't get someone to do their gigs for them. Only they can do their gigs. Even if there's lots of good guitar players around who can play their songs, probably you close your eyes and you wouldn't even know the difference most of the time. But people want to see them on stage. They don't want to see somebody else playing their songs. Okay, so does that sort of help as far as I can add something more to that? I will, but that's kind of just really sort of giving you the green light to go ahead and do that and make it. You're going to make your business more profitable. So I guess the other question is, how do you minimize fallout? I personally didn't worry too much about fallout because what I wanted to do was I wanted to see who was really on board and who wasn't. It was a test. It was a way for me to see and then learn from that. So even if, let's imagine, and I think worst case scenario would be 50% of those students you'll lose. Okay, that's worst case scenario. So then you've got to look at, okay, what happened? What went wrong? Why did so many of those students not carry over? And what I would do already beforehand, because I'm guessing that you're preempting this, that it's not going to happen today, but even before this, maybe watch the classes. Spend the day watching the shift, taking notes, looking at what's going on, even video it if you can. That way you can then go back and look at the evidence and go, okay, why did we lose so many students? What was going on? And then you can start to see, okay, these guys weren't really on the method. They weren't really, it wasn't about G4 for them. It was more about the teacher. And that way you can start to go, well, how can I make sure that doesn't happen in the future? It's not that you don't want them having a connection with the teacher. That you do. That's important. We've spoken about that. But what you want them to do is have an equally strong connection with the business and with the method and the system. Those things, you want to have all those in place. And a good way around that is by keeping contact with the parents, especially for you. If you can connect with the parents, then you're going to, little Johnny might be, sad that his teacher's moving or he's got to change teacher. But when you're talking to his mother, she has a connection with you, so she'll go, yeah, he'll be all right. He's a bit sad, but yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine in a few weeks. And you're just your reassurance that everything's fine. The new teacher is great, and blah blah blah. So you can cover yourself that way. Okay, so the other ways, as far as minimizing any fallout, is to really talk to as many of the students as you can. Make a list of all the students and then go through them and ask yourself, is this student likely to drop out? Is this one likely to drop out? Actually go through and do it, because again, it'll be a good test to sort of see on the other side of the changeover how correct you were, how close you were in your prediction. And then you can start to see when you have to do it maybe again, or if you look at your other teachers and in your training, if you can start to make this a part of what you do, then you'll become more vigilant about the things that matter about keeping your students on board. All right. So yeah, good luck with it, and maybe just let us know how it goes once you once you get past it.
I was actually thinking of doing it today. Is that, you think it's too soon, or?
No, if you've planned it, that's fine. So it's probably not going to make a lot of difference, and it may even be worse if you leave it any longer because we're getting too close to Christmas. People will very easily sign off. It's better to, personally, I think it's better to get in early, let them have some experience with the new teacher before Christmas, and that way in the new year, because you're going to take obviously a couple of weeks break there, I'm guessing, and then they'll come back on board knowing the new teacher rather than leaving thinking their teacher's gone, so not knowing who the new teacher is and going, well, I don't want to do it. It's better to catch them now, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that same thing. So that's, I wanted to do it today.
Okay, cool, excellent. All right, so just hang on to your other questions. I'll just check with these other guys, and I'll get to you. We'll get to all the questions today.
I was going to say one thing, David.
Yeah.
That's all right. Just in regards to the Occam's question, because I had to go through that process at the start of last year. And one that I found that really helped was giving people a couple of options. So I would say, look, these are the set times for the groups, junior, adult, whatever, and then say choose, like, give me your top preference, number 1, 2, 3, and they would just send those all through, and then I would just choose off that. So I think that instead of saying, look, you have to go to this time now, people are sort of like, oh well, you tell me what to do. If you giving them options, they were a lot more. I only lost, I think, a couple of students using that method, and that worked pretty well. So I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, that's good.
Great. Excellent. Yeah, you can give them options. Yeah, even better. And you've got enough students there now, I think, on classes running that you should be able to give them options. Okay, cool. All All right, Monty, do you have any questions you want to throw at us today, all the way from Pittsburgh?
Not really.
All good.
I'll let you know if I think of one later.
Okay,
cool.
no problem. Sounds good. Chris, have you got any questions?
Monty, you stole my thunder. I don't have anything either.
Oh, okay. Well,
well, honestly, I didn't think I was going to make it tonight, so I haven't formulated anything, you know. So I wanted to just jump on.
Look, guys, I must be doing a great job because you guys don't have any questions anymore. I'm done. My work is done.
Well,
I can retire.
I just emailed you about the guitar and guitar lessons ad. You know,
yes.
The Facebook thing. So, yeah, I wanted to try it for this month and.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
It's just a month anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. well, let's talk about that, like, you know, a guitar lesson pack, all right, and what you can expect from that. Firstly, I would have very low expectations of selling guitars because it's not something we've been doing. It's not what we're known for. When you start putting those ads out there, the first thing people think is, you know, are these guys, who is this and what's this about? Even though they might know, they might have seen G4 guitar before, they're not associating with the guitar.
The next Guitar Center.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to look at, you know, Guitar Center and you know, maybe even other, when we're talking online, because that's really what you're competing with is online. People who want to shop offline will shop offline. That'll always go on. So in the online space, you're going to be competing with the major players. I know myself, you know, if I don't know who they are and they're not big, it's going to take a fair bit to convince me to go with you. You know, so what I would say though about it is that it's good exposure because what happens at this time of year, and I come from a retail history because my parents had retail shops and then I was working in retail when I left school and so forth. So, and I know the retail cycle and how it works. And what happens is that when we come into this period, people go from ignoring ads to looking for ads. They go from that sort of mindset of, I don't want to buy anything, I don't need anything, stop pounding me with all these ads, to quick, where are all the brochures? You start to see, I don't know if it happens in your house, but you start to see your wife collect, you know, catalogs to start looking through them to look for gifts for everybody. So people are in the mode, and what happens is that once they open the wallet and the moths fly out and all the rest of it, the spending starts. So you've got these two things happening. Is you've got one where people are now looking at ads and looking for ideas for gifts, and two, their wallet is open so that they're ready to spend. So in some cases, and I have mentioned this before, in some cases in Australia anyway, there was one year I remember where the sales just in December of guitars outsold the other 11 months of the year. So we had more guitars sold in just 1 month than the other 11 months of the year. And obviously people who are looking for guitars will be comparing and looking at different things. So by having your ad for a guitar and lessons and putting it up in front of these people, because it will come up on their radar, they may look at it and go, oh, I don't know who these guys are, but they do lessons as well. Okay, well, I'll just make a note of them. Or it just becomes, you know, in their conscious mind, so to speak. So it's an awareness program, and that's really what I expect more than anything out of this is hitting people who are normally not looking and becoming aware to those people who G4 guitar is and making the association with buying a guitar and learning guitar.
Cool.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah,
I mean, it also, see what happens and try it. And it also, one other thing is that it also brings to mind, because a lot of people buy a guitar, believe it or not, 95% of people who buy a guitar teach themselves. They'll never have a lesson. We're lucky if we get 5% of people who actually pick up a guitar.
Really?
So yeah, that's the reality of it. It's one of the most self-taught things, and especially when we're talking musical instruments, it's the most self-taught musical instrument. And you know, I don't know why. Maybe it's the history of guitar. Maybe it's that people look at a guitar and think it's easy, you know, or they know a friend who's self-taught. So even though to some people it's the old saying of, you know, I went to China and you know, the salesperson said that you know, half the people here don't even wear shoes, so we're never going to sell any. Or sorry, nobody here wears shoes, so we're not going to sell any. And the other guy says, look, nobody wears shoes here, we're going to make a fortune. So it's all about how you look at it. And in the case of guitar, there's so many people out there who are self-teaching, and that's why on YouTube, one of the most popular videos are learning guitar. It's one of the most popular of all the videos that people watch. Cat videos are obviously the most popular, but guitar is up there, I think, in the top 5 or 10. So
what videos?
What's that?
What videos are the most popular?
Learn to play guitar videos.
Okay.
Yeah, they're one of the most popular videos for people to watch is learn to play. And in the self-teaching, is I think it's 1 or 2. It's you know, when it comes to teaching yourself, guitar is definitely in the first 1 or 2 there. So because of that, you know, we know there's a lot of people out there who are learning to play guitar, who want to learn to play guitar. They just need to know that a teacher is a good option, even the best option. So we can, and that's where the awareness comes in. Because what happens is people go through these cycles or these sort of ups and downs where they try and teach themselves for a while, then they get really frustrated and they start looking for answers and searching YouTube, and they get sick of YouTube. And if you can hit them at the right point, what happens? This is the whole Facebook strategy, which I'll explain. Is that there are those points of frustration, those pain points, is where they'll look at one of your ads. They'll see an ad come up on Facebook, learn to guitar, and they'll click on it and they'll look at it and they go, $99. All right, that sounds all right. And then they'll think about it and all right, I'll have a think about that. And then they forget about it. And what happens is you never hear from that person again. But with remarketing, Facebook will remember that person, and then what they do is that they throw their ads, if you're doing a remarketing program, they throw the ads up in front of those same people again, and they go, and that ad, if they're, remember, you only pay for it if they click on it, so that ad keeps appearing for them, and they get to one of those pain points again, frustration, and they go, damn it, I know these guys are going to click on the ad, and they go and look at it. I'm going to sign up this time. I'm going to stop trying to work this out myself. It's just crazy. I'm not getting anywhere. And bang, they click on it, and you have a student. So that's how we educate our audience through Facebook. That's smart marketing. But to take it one step further, of course, which I mentioned before, about the lookalike campaigns, and that's where you actually target people who are this very similar to the people who are clicking on your ads. So in other words, these are probably people who are looking at guitar videos, learn to play guitar videos. They're probably reaching pain points. They've probably clicked on other ads that are similar. So a lookalike campaign then goes and puts your ads in front of the right people who Facebook, based on their algorithms, have decided that these people are pretty close to your target market. Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, so it's all good. So that's why this time of year, do the ad, but just don't expect to sell guitars. That's all I'm saying. That's the point. It's just an awareness campaign. That's really what you can hope to get out of it. You sell a guitar, great.
Yep.
Hey, David, can I jump in with a quick question?
Yeah, go for it, Chris.
Now he's ready.
So now I'm warmed up now.
All right.
So on the Facebook, I was actually thinking of this a few days ago. You know how my Facebook campaign really wasn't all that successful. I think the numbers were $1,200 over a period of, I think, 8 months or a year, and I only got 2 inquiries. But it's okay because there were 2 good inquiries and 2 very good students. And actually, now I have a 3rd student because I have one family has a brother and a sister in it. So it's still worth it. It always is, you know. But but so I kind of put that on hold, as you know. But would you recommend maybe for December, just doing re-engaging with a new campaign just with Christmas in mind, and just giving it a shot? I suppose just that piggybacks what you were talking about, you know? Yeah,
I think so. Look, one of the things that obviously with the campaign, your campaign, is that it it went through that period. What happens is marketing changes, and especially with the online marketing, Facebook and Google, and it's changing so rapidly that things that worked, even a few months ago don't work anymore. So what happened is that, and I think you got those students fairly early on. Is that right? In the marketing?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, then it kind of just died. It got real quiet.
Yeah, which was a kind of an indication that, all right, it worked for a while, but now it's not working. And that's kind of the same thing. A couple of things there. One is that in your campaign, then obviously when we hit people, the marketing at that point, the clicks were cheaper, so you were actually getting to more people. And as Facebook becomes more expensive, which it is, it's increasing all the time. The cost of Facebook marketing is not what it used to be, and that's because more and more people are vying for the same space. So you got. And it's not just guitar ads. It's that you're in your area. There will be other kids' activities. There will be other kind of businesses, because we're not actually just. It's not like a guitar magazine, so to speak. What we're doing is we're vying for the people in your area in a certain demographic, and those people have lots of interests, not just learning guitar. So as more and more people want to advertise in that space, then the price goes up. It's an auction,
right?
And so it was getting more expensive. So the advertising now, a month's worth of advertising now, and Facebook have just created what we were doing as minimum daily spend ads, which was quite acceptable, is no longer acceptable by Facebook. In other words, if you're not going to spend at least $5 a day, you can't advertise on Facebook. And so they didn't have a minimum originally. Now they have a minimum, so they won't even let you advertise without spending. And so what you were spending, which is about $200 Australian a month, is not enough now to run a Facebook budget. So the minimum I've now increased to $400 Australian dollars, or $300 Australian dollars for existing members, and $400 for any new people who want to do the marketing. So. And that's because that's where the baseline is now for Facebook. You can't even get in the door if you're not willing to spend that much a month. And that's because they know it won't work. It's too small. The budget, you won't get a result. They know that.
Right. So I mean, we could talk about it over email, but maybe I'll go 200 or 300 just for a month or two, and just give it just throw it out there, And see if I get any bites.
You can do it two ways. One is that you can spend, and like I said, the minimum now for Facebook is about $300 Australian a month. So that's $220 US or something like that.
Right.
So that's the minimum. If you go into a monthly cycle with what I'm doing, then I've set the minimum at $400 Australian dollars because that gets us over. Make sure that we're not going to hit that baseline. So that's where the minimum stands with doing it as a done for you through me, and you're going to experience a very similar thing if you do it yourself with Facebook. It'll be because I've got the 20% that I take, then it's got to be a little bit higher. But if you do it yourself, it's going to be a little bit lower. Now, here's the thing with Facebook marketing is the price that it is now, and the Facebook campaigns are not going to be a great return for you if you're thinking short term. They're no longer a short-term marketing campaign set up. What has to happen is your first, and they didn't have remarketing right when you were part of it. So they brought it in about halfway through your campaign, but it took a little while for me to work it out and learn about it and all the rest of it. But now I understand it. I fully understand how it works. So now I'm implementing it across the board. But the idea is that all those people who clicked on your ad in your $1,200, if we had captured those people in a remarketing, like an audience, then we can go back and market to those people, and then also create a lookalike campaign to hit those same people or people like them in your area. So what that does is it brings the cost of each click down. It makes it cheaper because it's, and I don't know if I'm going to explain this very well, but what Facebook want is for you to come up with good ads that target the right people. They're really making us do the work. They're using algorithms, but if you just want to throw ads up on Facebook, then it's you're throwing darts in the dark. Whereas what they want you to do is actually know what you're aiming for and have the right ads and have the right audience, and they reward you for that by charging less for the ads. So it's all about, if we go back to Google, who are kind of the first to do this, it's all about creating ads that people actually want to see, and removing ads that are what they call interruption marketing. You think of TV, you're watching a TV show and these ads come on that are just annoying, that have nothing to do with what you're interested in. So the idea with Google and Facebook is that the ads need to appeal to the person they're putting them in front of, because they don't want to be pushing people off their sites, and they don't want people blocking the ads either. You now have options to block ads. You can say, I don't want to see that ad, or you can just put an ad blocker in so you don't see any ads. And ideally what they want is people who see the ads almost as entertaining as anything else. Like an ad is almost like watching a cat video. So that's what they're looking for. So the more you do that, then the more you're going to be rewarded with lower cost ads. And so this is why the Facebook marketing campaign is getting more and more sophisticated as these things do. It's like anything, the longer you're in the game, the more sophisticated it gets, and so therefore it gets harder and harder for new people to come into the game, and that will always be the way things work. Think about, I'll give the example of business, right? Starting a business. There was a time when starting a business was very simple. Today, if you want to open a business, I don't care what it is, it's very complicated. There's a lot of levels that you've got to go through. It's not just a matter of, hey, I want to teach people to play guitar. You've got to know how to market, where to market. You've got to understand your pricing, your business plan, what you're going to teach. You've got, because what happens is guys like us come along, G4, who are much more sophisticated than your average guitar teacher, and so very quickly your average young guitar teacher just starting up who has no experience is going to find it very, very difficult to compete, just because we're too far along in the way that we do things. It's much more, you want it to be simple but sophisticated. Think of coming into the computer market. Think of now creating a new computer, a brand new style of computer. You're new to the market, you invent a new computer. You're going to have a hell of a time competing with Apple. Even the PCs are having trouble keeping up with Apple. So,
right.
What's someone else going to do? So even Steve Jobs had trouble competing with Apple. He created the Next computers or whatever they were, and they flopped, and because he couldn't keep up with his own prior brand, being Apple, because they were already too far ahead. And that's what happens, and that's where with the marketing with Facebook, it's going to get more and more complex like that, to the point where people will get on there and just go, I have no idea what to do. I think people are already like that. They're already looking at Facebook and going, I have no idea how to make this work and how to make my ads work. They end up spending thousands of dollars before they even work out how to use it on a basic level, or find out that it's just too much. So anyway, back to your situation. I think, yes, do some marketing, but random casual marketing on Facebook I don't really think works. I think you're better off putting that money into flyers.
Okay. Yep.
Or something that you already are comfortable with. If you're going to go for Facebook, you've got to go for the long term, and that's what I'm looking at as well as the long term. I'm looking at the guys who do my Done For You campaign. I'm looking at building their campaign, and I'm building audiences around their campaigns, and then I'm doing remarketing, and and as I learn more and it becomes more sophisticated, then we'll have a list basically of people who are interested in learning guitar that we know. We'll have an audience.
Yeah, because the $300 a month at 12 months, at $3,600 a year, is, yes, it's an investment, but that's potentially hefty investment.
Yeah.
At least with the results that I'm getting.
Yeah. It is, and it's how can I say? It's a risk because we still have the demographics of different areas. Some areas do better than others. It's just the way of it.
Right.
I can't say. I know Adam in Bowie is doing well with his campaigns. I know some of the members are doing quite well and have spent very little and have got a great result. Others, there's also dry spells and so forth. But look, you like you say, you spent $1,200. You picked up 2 students. Yeah, it'll pay for itself, but it's still not a great return, and it was still a long period there of you not getting anything out of it. I do think that's the remarketing problem. I think had we been remarketing, we'd be able to sort of capture that. But at the same time, and I can't guarantee anybody anything.
Right,
Facebook
of course.
yeah, it's the gamble. That's why I still, with you guys, still sort of encourage the flyers, but gradually we're getting to know the Facebook. As I see more members doing well on Facebook, then I will start, you'll hear me change my tune. I'll start saying, you guys have got to put money into Facebook. This is where the action is. And I'm kind of close to there, but I'm not there yet. I'm still, wanting to get more data before I start giving that speech.
Right. Okay.
All right. Cool. All right. So, Joachim, you had another question?
I did, yes. It was in terms of the open day this Saturday. So, what I'm doing is, because I know there's going to be many people coming. I'm doing like group like free guitar lessons, but they are like groups. So I was just wondering what to do in that, like what sort of to cover or present there, like how like 15 minutes and what to go over. I don't know anything about guitar, most likely. So yeah, what to sort of talk about there.
I would do really just like the intro, condensed to a few of the things that are going to appeal to the students. And if you're giving a short 15-minute lesson, like a demo, then really it's going to be more about putting a guitar in each of the students' hands, and then just explaining, go through quickly a couple of the basics of guitar, and then you go through some picking and chords, and then maybe even then just show them how some simple chords convert into popular songs. And that's what I would do. I want them to see the path from beginner to playing a song in 15 minutes. That's where, if you look at any demonstration when it comes to, I don't know if you've ever been to those things where you go to the home decorator kind of places, and they have these guys who show you how to make a meal in 10 minutes or something. And so the idea is that they go from scratch, where they just have the same sort of stuff that anyone else would pull out of their fridge, and then 10-15 minutes later, bang, they got a beautiful meal made from it. And so what you're trying to do is the same idea, is that here's a guitar, it's got 6 strings, you got 2 hands and a bunch of fingers. I'm going to show you how to turn this into a song in the next 15 minutes. And that's where people get excited, because they see that, all right, there's steps involved here, there's steps that they can understand, and you have a plan for them as to how to get there. So, for example, I might say, all right, everybody, welcome, my name's David, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the guitar, and I'm going to show you what we cover in our guitar lessons. We're going to get each of you to do a few little things for me, just as beginners. This is a pick. If everyone could grab a pick, that's great. This is how we're going to sit with the guitar. Excellent. So what I want you to do now is just put your first finger for me, first finger on the first string. Sorry, what I might do actually first is get them picking. First I'll do is I'll get you picking. So all I want you to do is hold the pick up and just rest it on the first string for me. Just get a feel where that first string is there. And all I want you to do is pick down on it. That's all. Okay, everybody do that for me. I'll go around, bang, excellent. That's it. So I'll do a quick run around the class. Right, so that's what we call picking, and what we want to do is practice going down and up. So there's 2 motions there, down on the string and up on the string. Excellent. That's great. That's great. That's great. All really good. So obviously the next thing we need to do is introduce the other hand, and this is where I'm going to get you to play. This is a basic C chord. It's what we call a 3-string C chord. So I just get you to put your first finger on the 2nd string of the 1st fret. So let me explain what that is. So we've got 6 strings. The strings are number 1 to 6. All I need you to know for now are which the string numbers 1, 2, 3. That's all we're going to have a look at. So I want you to put it on to the second string. So if everybody just touches that second string, and then the frets are what we number. There's what we call fret bars there, and what you're going to do is put your first finger in that first section, and everybody on there. That's great. That's great. That's great. So you're going to get around the class. That's what we call a 3-finger C chord. Now the C chord is one of the most popular chords. It's used in thousands, if not millions, of songs. So just by playing this one chord, you're on your way to playing your first song. Okay, so that's the C chord. So the next thing I want you to do is play a G chord, and this is where you're going to get your other finger, third finger here, and you're going to put it on, etc., etc. So I keep going on that. So I've got the C chord and the G chord for them to start off with, and then what I might do is just show them a few songs that use those chords, and I might say there are other chords that you need to learn for certain songs, and you might pick a few popular songs that are current at the moment, or some classics, whatever you like, and then you say if you play the C with the G and you combine it with, say, the E minor, which is not a hard chord, it's only 2 fingers, you can play a lot more songs with that, and then if we combine that with, say, an A minor chord, which is this one. So this is what we do, and what we're going to do is teach you the technique, so how to hold the pick, how to play the notes. There's lots of little techniques. So first of all, I'll give you a technique, and you can do the things like putting the finger on and off the golf putting technique, so to speak, and so on and off. Give them that, and just show them how you're going to learn the chords faster. And what we're going to do is show you these little tricks and these little strategies to get you to learn the guitar in half the usual time. Because by doing these certain strategies, you're actually training the motor skills at a faster rate, opposed to what most people do is that they learn slow. So I will often give an example that I use here where I'll say, I'm going to play the C chord and the G chord. Just watch me here. And I'll strum the C chord for 8 bars, and then I'll change the G chord for 8 bars. And then I'll say to them, all I did was one change, and that took me almost a minute. If I just go C, G, C, G, C, G, I'll have done 20 times as many changes in the same period of time. And so the idea is that when we're practicing skills, and that's what we talk about skills, is where you want to practice the skill of the change, because that's what matters. It's getting the change of the chord is what we want you to do, and by doing this in a certain way, then you're going to learn those skills faster. So that's what G-Floor is all about, and yeah, I hope that makes sense. And then what you want to do in that is make a little bit of a connection with each student by using their name. If you can make that connection, and don't just sit them down and treat them as a group of people. Actually get to know each one of them. As you know here, when I talk to you guys, Chris, Joachim, Michael, Monty, I'm using your names at different times. I'm not just talking to you guys as a sort of an anonymous group. And that's what you want to do, is you want to engage each person when they first come in. Then introduce yourself. Even though you're doing 15-minute classes, I would allow some time before that and even after that to have little chats with people and just say, hi, what's your name? Great, all right, Mal, I'll get you to take a seat here. Mary, nice to meet you. Beautiful guitar, where did you get that from? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, great, take a seat here. So get to know each person, sit them down and build that connection with them. And that's really, because once you build a connection with someone, they're going to trust you more, they're going to listen to you more, and they're going to be more interested in what you've got to say. Great.
Okay, so basically it's sort of you sort of take away, it's an intro lesson, but you take away like filling in the practice schedule and like practice logs, and that just focus on the picking and chords and just sort of show them how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, you can show a few things like that, but you won't have a lot of time for that. So the idea is you just want to let them know it's a system, and that everything that they'll need is provided. All I need to do is bring their guitar and a pick, and everything else is there. And then get them, actually show them how it's going to work, show them what they're going to be learning, and get them doing something, so they feel that just in that 15 minutes they've learned something. If they can feel that in 15 minutes they've come away with something, then they're going to go, wow, that was great, sign me up. But if they feel like you've kind of, not really taught them anything, that it's been a sales pitch and nothing more, then people walk away. And I've been to that. I've been to lots of those marketing seminars where someone will get up and I feel I didn't learn anything from that. All I got was a sales pitch. All I heard about was how, join my program and you'll be the best marketer ever. And it's like, but you didn't show me anything. Show me something first, and then I can see that I'm actually going to learn something from you and that you're a good teacher. I can see you in action. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. And then so what I was thinking of is so after the 15 minutes, I have 15 minutes available so that I can talk to them, and then hopefully sign people up there within 15 minutes after the lesson. So yeah, so maybe I can ask them like, when would you like to start your lessons or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, it's good to have some times and like be prepared for people saying yes. Always prepare for success, as they say. So you have to think about, what are you going to do when someone says, okay, this is good, what are my options? You say, okay, well, I've got these are the times I've got. Even if you had a sheet with all the available times for them to do intros, and then as people book in, you cross them off. And that creates a bit of urgency, a bit of scarcity. You can say, all right, we started off today with 50 time slots, and now 20 of those are gone, so I've only got 30 to go, and they're going fast, so when would you like to book in? So the idea is have your times ready that you can book people in, rather than sort of looking at, just have a sheet. That's what I do, is have a printed out sheet, have it there, have the times, and then write them in, because it's just going to be quicker and easier, and it also, like I said, it creates that sense of urgency.
Correct.
Alrighty, excellent. Any other questions? Anybody got a question?
Yeah, I did think of one. I'm reading the referral engine at the moment.
Yep.
It's going through a whole bunch of things regarding to creating content, blogs, videos, and podcasts, and so forth. And yeah, there's a lot there. So I'm sort of thinking, because like you've already started with a fair few blogs, and as a combined network, we've got a lot of things happening. I'm sort of thinking, like, do you have a suggestion as to where is there a gap that we should focus on for content creation in that respect?
I think, to me, the biggest gap is skills to songs, and it's one of the ones that you guys have talked about a lot. And I think, if any of you guys were doing videos on songs that you like, that you want to do and you want to work out, and then connecting those to skills, so breaking it down, and it doesn't even have to be the whole song. It can just be a small section of the song. You can just say, okay, I'm gonna teach you this riff, but what I'm going to do is show you how it relates to the skills that we talk about. And so you can, whatever it is, you can look at the scale that it's using. Maybe it's using an arpeggio, etc. So what you do is you break it down. You could take something like Stairway to Heaven, right? And you can just sort of show them that the first arpeggio is an A minor arpeggio. So and you start with the A minor chord, and you say this is an A minor chord, and this is an A minor arpeggio. And now what they've done is they've taken those same notes up into the 5th position, and this is how it's done here. Bang, bang, bang. And so you relate the skills to a song, and I think it would be great to have videos like that, I think, where you're using examples of songs to explain skills.
Cool. Yeah, because I'm sort of listening to all of that and just going, for one person to do all of that, it's impossible. But obviously having the network, we've got half of it there. And sort of, into next year, because I've got a teacher who's working with me. So once my time is freed up a little bit, I'd like to start getting into more of that side of things. And creating videos was the first thing on my list anyway, so that's perfect. So I'd love to do some more of that. But I just wanted to check with you, what you thought would be the best use of my time in that respect. So that's perfect.
I think, and I'll add to that, I think the biggest opportunity that exists is looking to what are the most popular trending songs that are likely for people to want to learn to play. And that's where you're going to get your biggest hits. You can literally get it's possible. I know this because I've looked at it. I haven't done it, but I've looked at it. You could, pick a song that's trending that let's say Taylor Swift, for instance, right? Taylor Swift is really popular at the moment. So let's say she comes out with a big new song, and you actually work out that song and then relate it to the skills. You might even just start off by teaching it in a way that people want to learn, which is often they just want to learn the song, right? But then at the beginning of the video, say, stick around, because what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to show you the song, but then I'm going to show you at the second part of this video how it relates to different skills. And then what you do is you break it into, or you even do other videos where they can go off and you say, okay, this is an arpeggio. If this is too hard for you, you might even put it a level. You go, this is really a senior level 4 song. So it's a bit hard. But if this is too hard for you, I've got a video for senior level 1 beginners to start learning the skills that are required to play this song. And so then you send them off on to another video. And this is a tactic that you want to use with any kind of blogs or videos where possible. It's always work, of course, but wherever you want to send them off to somewhere else so that people don't sort of stop there. And that's one of the clever things that the top marketers do, is they always have somewhere else for you to go. There's always another video that relates to the one that you just watched that keeps you in the loop. So, and we could do that as a network where you guys do work on your own specialty, and then you can, rather than one of your videos, you could go to another teacher's video on that same subject. But I personally think the biggest opportunity is in hitting popular songs. I saw I can't remember what it was. It was one of the popular songs being sung by a female singer at the moment, and there's a guy who's sort of taught it, who's not really a teacher. He's a basic sort of guitar player, but he comes across really, really well. He seems like a nice guy. He's very humble and honest. He's not sort of saying, "Hey, I'm the greatest guitar player on earth," but he's managed to work out the chords to this song, and he's teaching, and he's had something like 200,000 hits on his video. And it's his first video. He's never done one before. This is just but he just happened to pick the right song at the right time with a trending song. So if you can do that sort of thing, that's if you want to get video hits, then on your YouTube videos, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. And I remember you saying a while ago your top viewed blog was, I think, 3 and 4 chord songs. Is that still number 1?
Still number 1, yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking of doing some videos on that, how to just use 3 or 4 chords and use a capo to transpose songs if they're not in the right key, and they still use the same chords, Yeah.
Yeah. Look, another thing to think about is that what do your students want? What are they looking for? Because the chances are, if your students are looking for it, then there's other people looking for it as well, and they become the popular topics. So if you can make videos, in my space. What I would do, not my space, the actual website, but in my area, what I would, what would really work for me, and again, I haven't done much of it because I've got enough clients right now. I don't need really to be doing anything. But making videos on how to do Facebook ads for guitar teachers or music teachers generally would be probably very popular. It would do really well, because I know that most guitar teachers most people out there are struggling with how to put Facebook ads. So if I have a step-by-step, free online guide to how to put a Facebook ad together, do a couple of videos and show them how to do it and what kind of ads to put together and the whole thing, you guys would probably want to see it, right? But it interests you, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so you could see that and you could see the steps. So it's something I might make just for you guys initially, but I know it's one of the things that would probably do well, and I could become the guy that shows people how to do online marketing, like for music teachers, because most of the online marketers that teach you how to do Facebook ads and that, they're not specific, they're just general. And so if I can do it for say music teachers, then what I do is create a kind of a following. I'm not planning on doing this, by the way, but just to give you an idea of what the possibilities are and how they're endless possibilities, is that, I could be the guy that shows other people how to do this and how to put their ads together and what kind of ads work and where to get their pictures from, and what kind of software to use to bring the pictures together, what kind of fonts to use, everything. There's a whole bunch of things there, and it's like, buy my course, for $997, I'll teach you, a whole bunch of things, how to use Twitter and all this, that, and the other. And so, yeah, it becomes an endless kind of business. And that's why there's no end to the money-making ideas, especially if you're surfing on the new technology, if you're riding that wave of the current technology, because that's where people are wanting to know. Most of them are out there, they know about 1% of what's happening. So if someone in their niche that they can relate to can help them, then that's what they're looking for. So in terms of guitar teaching, G4 Guitar Teachers, that's what we want to do, is we want to sort of help those guys who are picking up guitars for the first time and sort of give them ideas. But let me get to the goal for you, Michael. What is the goal?
I think for me, it's just getting back. I feel like I'm getting too bogged down with the actual running of the school and teaching, and I'd like to get back to. I recently also read Start With Why, and I feel like I've sort of lost a bit of my my love for actually, going through songs and everything like that. It's funny because I'm still teaching, but I guess I'm doing a lot of beginners, like really absolute beginners, because I've started from scratch this year. So, but yeah, I just wanted to get back to making more videos, because I did start to do that, and I actually really enjoyed starting down that track. So it's number one, it's something I really enjoy, and number two, I see it as something that will give more value to my current students and to whoever else is out there. So it's just more about trying to create more value.
Yeah. So I see for all of you guys the long term, and if I was in your position, right, and it's really no different to where I am. The long term thing for you is to think about building your business and your reputation, because as you build a reputation, and I know I said before about disconnecting yourself from the business, and you can, because G4 is a business, but you also, especially you younger guys, you want to be building that reputation, because over time your reputation will become very valuable. People will come to you, and it'll be, right now what you're earning should be the lowest you're ever going to earn per hour. This is the bottom of the earning capacity. You'll just get more and more and more, because what people do is they come to you, same as you guys come to me in a sense, to learn how to earn more. Okay, you'll hit that $100,000 a year, and then people will want to know, how did you do it? People who are earning $20,000, $30,000 a year going, how do I earn $100,000 a year? But then they want to know other things, such as, how do I earn $100,000 a year without leaving my bedroom? Or how do I earn $100,000 a year, and not have to work more than 4 hours a week? And that's the book 4 Hour Work Week. And then it goes, well, how do I do that and earn $200,000 a year? And as you go up the ladder, what happens is people want you to mentor them. They want to learn how you did it, and that's really what the whole thing's about. The people I go to, I really wouldn't spend much time with people who are earning less than $1 million a year to teach me how to get to the next level, right? Because that's where I'm heading, right? I'm heading to that $1 million a year. That's my goal, and so we're each at certain levels. So yours might be 100,000 right now, and then it might be 200,000. But you've got to keep, and you don't want to mentor. Often when you start, if you're earning $30,000 or $40,000 a year, you don't necessarily want a mentor who will teach you how to earn $1 million a year, because first of all, they're generally going to be very expensive. But secondly, you need time. You need to grow. You need to sort of take the steps. So you don't necessarily need that person at the $1 million level. You just need someone who's going to get you to the next level, and then the next level, and the next level. So if you think more long term, then you'll start sort of building that out. You think long term but act short term. That's the recipe. Is think, okay, what do I want to eventually be earning? And it can be $100,000 a year, right? You don't think, and you see this and aim for $1 million. Anything less, and it's not worth getting out of bed. That's not how it necessarily has to work. Some people need that, some people don't. Just sort of set where it is, whatever it is you want. Let's say $100,000, and that's why I sort of set it at that, because most guitar teachers I know are earning far less than that. So I say $100,000. Let's get you to $100,000. Right? Once we get there, we can reassess. So the idea is you set your target at $100,000 with the idea of working no more than 20 hours a week. So you don't want a school where you're working $100,000 a year, working 80 hours a week is not a good result. What you want is $100,000 working as little as possible in terms of your business. Doesn't mean you don't do stuff. It just means you're not working, flat out as a teacher, teaching all the time. But you actually, because I think what you're talking about there, Michael, is creative time. You want time to do things that you enjoy on a creative level. So turn those creative pursuits, and you might feel that you haven't had time for the creative side, which is important. But turn those creative pursuits into profitable ones as well, into business. So find where the crossroads is, where it meets, if you like, between your creative side and the side that's going to build value into your business over time. And if you have that long-term vision, I think back to my early days, especially the first 10 years, I didn't build up anything in that time. It was just teaching. It was such a waste. Now I spend most of my time building systems. Even these videos, I record. So it's you look at our member site now. When guys look at our member site, like they do the trial or whatever, they have a look and they go, "Man, I can't believe there's so much stuff here." There's like 250 hours or something of video and audio. There's tons of stuff in there. So if you guys were to go there back from scratch and start again and go through everything, it would probably take you 500 hours just to work through it all, and that's constantly. So that now I've got that, but I don't have anything from the first 10 years. I don't even have a photo. It's just 10 years gone. I've got the experience, I've got the memories, but I don't have anything of value. So what you want to do is think about that. Think about every class that you do. Every day you want to be thinking about how you're building value into your business. And if the time that you spend building value is going to be it's going to be the best use of your time. Whereas time that you just do working the business is not a great use of your time because it's lost. You don't ever get that back again. So just think about that. I think that building the value and getting educated are the two best things you want to be doing for your business. So yeah. So anything else? Any other questions? I'm happy to answer another question if anyone's got one.
Yeah, I had one.
Yep.
It was just you did send me an email. It was just in regards to the real estate, and you suggested talk with them and just see what the options are. But I remember if you had some more to add to that.
Okay, so to bring everyone else into the picture, Joachim's where he's renting the shop. They're not going to give him a lease right now because there's somebody else who's looking at taking over that building, and obviously giving them more money for it and long term. All that. So Joachim's gone to them, asked about a lease, and they've sort of, said, "Oh, we don't want to talk about it right now." So he's left in limbo because he's got a lease that's going to come up in a couple of months, and they could suddenly just say to him, "You got to go, you got to leave." And so he's left with, and your business, if you don't have anybody to teach, obviously you don't have a business, and the move takes a lot of work and so forth. So what's happened is Joachim's trying to get to because he goes through an agent and he's trying to get to the owner of the building to negotiate some kind of lease and some kind of workaround. The problem is, I think, Joachim, that the deal that they're probably getting from whoever is considering it, which is probably not confirmed, and otherwise they would tell you, the deal is probably much better than they know that you're willing to pay. So they're probably going to get twice as much money or even more, and that would push you out of the park, right? That would leave you, because the cost of the rent for you, it wouldn't be worth it. So I don't know that there's a lot you can do in that respect. I think that it's a gamble that you would have to take, and it's not a gamble I would take. I always like to have my a secure plan as to where I'm going with the business, because you've already invested a lot of money, a lot of time into your business, and you don't want to suddenly have the whole rug pulled from under you. I would simply take, because they've got the power right now, I would simply take that power away from them by finding a new place, relocating. it's not fun, and I know there's it's expensive where you are, and you got a really good deal where you are, but that deal in many respects allowed you to get your business up and running and get to a point where you are now. If you go to a more expensive location, within reason, of course, you've got to consider your budget, but I think that's what I would do. I can't really think of any other option than looking around at all the possible options for a better location. You've got a few months to find a place, and even maybe working out a partnership with someone who you share the premise with. Okay.
Right, but still I would still I was thinking it would still be good to still ask them and see what the options are in any case.
Yeah.
I don't think it would hurt.
Oh no, I don't think it'd hurt. But I thought you said you had trouble getting to them. They weren't willing to talk to you.
Well, it's because it's through the agent, so it's hard to get talk with a person like directly. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So what's the question? Maybe I'm not understanding your question.
Oh right. Well, just maybe some more to in terms of to communicate through the agent to the owner, sort of how to get through the message.
I think from what you said, you've tried what you can do. I would just be direct and just say, can I organise a meeting with the owner? And if the agent says no, the owner doesn't want to speak to you, you don't really have much choice.
Right. Well, I haven't asked him directly about that, so that's what I mean. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Just say, can I arrange a meeting with the owner? Just so I just want to. Yeah. I just like to have a chat to the actual owner, and see what happens. Yeah. Take it from there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Excellent. Okay. Cool. So I think we're done. Thanks, guys. And same time, same channel next week. And if you've got any questions in the meantime, let me know.
All right, right on. Thank you.
Thanks, Monty.
See you guys.
Thanks, Michael.
See ya.
Thanks, Joachim. Thanks, Chris.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.